Okay, so I went a little crazy today. Um, and but it was sort of a, I guess it was a good kind of crazy, not the kind of crazy that's gonna come back and haunt me. Let's just put it that way. Uh, Let me just start at the beginning. So, a few days ago, I stopped in Dreadnought Comics, the comic shop closest to where I live. And I decided to stop in there to see if there were any of the new releases that you know, was following. And, a lot of the new stuff that I follow, they're just these like limited stories, limited issues or whatever. Maybe 4 issues or 5 or 8 or 9. So what I've been doing because I'm so behind with reading is I just buy them. When it ends, I put them all together and then I'll just read them that way. So I was looking around and I think I picked up. Oh, where? Yeah, I might as well show you these now. I ended up picking up this book, 30 Days of Night, Falling Sun. And I almost think that I heard somebody talking about this. It might have been Dan Elson. It might have been Sleepy Reader. But I think it was Dan. Somebody was talking about this book, and it looked interesting. And so I picked it up. This is number 2. And then I asked the owner guy, did he have number 1? Which he did, so I picked that one up, okay? So I picked those up, and I always check, the magazines in there. Dreadnought is really, really cool. You should go on like Google or something and look at the pictures. They have these big, huge display, these like walls. They're like walls that are on like what do you call them? Like I can't even think. They kind of like swing back and forth. You can like move them, and I don't know. Go check it out. Anyway, they have cool magazines. I bought a lot of like comic magazines, a lot of creepy, eerie, heavy metal stuff like that in there. They got a pretty nice selection, and they have some cool stuff on the walls. Their wall books, their wall magazines are really cool. So I go back there because the magazines are in the way in the back of the store, and I look up on the wall and I see a Richard Corben Grail. Like I'm talking about a Richard Corben bomb, and it's one of those books that are it's it's either super rare, super expensive, or both. Um, and I'm being a little vague right now, but I'm gonna fill in all of the details in a second. So I look up and I see this book, and I'm like, oh man, and it's expensive. It's expensive. It's not expensive as I normally see it, but it's expensive. So let me just go into detail about that. I look on there, it's got a price tag, it's $150. And I'm just like, now this book consistently goes for 300 to 400. Like consistently, $300 to $400. I want this book bad, but I'm not gonna spend $150 for it. Even though technically it's a good price in comparison to I've never seen this book out in a while. This is my first time ever. And so I go to the register and I'm paying for the books I picked up, and I ask the owner, I go, when's your next sale? Because they don't have sales very often. But when they do, they're usually really good. Like I think the last time I went in there for a sale, I want to say this was like easily 6 months to a year ago. I forgot the occasion. It might have been Free Comic Book Day, or it might have been a Black Friday. I don't remember. Anyway, everything in the store was 50% off. Everything. Didn't matter what it was. There were people in there. They were buying, $4, $5, $6,000 books that day. Like his expensive books. Cause this guy, he had like X-Men #1. I think right now he has a Fantastic Four #1 on the wall. He had Avengers #1. He had some really really cool old books. And people, by the time when I went in there after the sale, man, there were a lot of those wall books were gone. He's like, yeah, we did pretty good. Anyway, so I asked him when was his next sale, and he said I was hoping he was saying it would be a sale around, this time of year, December or whatever. And he said, probably. What did he say? We'll probably have one in February, I think he said, because that would have been the anniversary of the store. So I was just like, that's a little ways away. I don't really want to wait that long, but hey, I'm not spending $150. So one of the reasons why I was so, fixated with trying to get my hands on this book is because one time, this might have been around a year ago, maybe a little longer, I don't recall. But anyway, somebody was selling this book online, and it was $85. And I should have pounced on it then, but what's crazy is seeing it sell for $300 to $400, and then that's like crazy. It's not gonna happen. And then when I saw it for $85, I'm like, man, that's still $85. That's still a whole lot of money. And I kind of just procrastinated, and somebody else ended up buying it. It took 3 or 4 days before somebody picked it up, and then after somebody bought it, of course I was regretting that I didn't grab it myself. And I could have grabbed it, but I didn't want to spend no $85. Come on. Anyway, so I just kind of, that was maybe 3, 4 days ago. So this evening I'm in there and I hear about the, Dan Ellison was talking about a while back make sure you check out his channel, Dan Ellison. He was talking about the Absolute Batman Annual #1. And I'm not a Batman. I'm not a fan. I don't read that. But I did like the theme of it, which was Batman, whooping up on a bunch of white supremacists. So who doesn't like that? Anyway, they're doing a second pressing because I guess the first pressing sold in like seconds. So I went up there this evening, just like maybe an hour ago, to have him put one aside for me when they come in. I think they don't come in for another month. But I just wanted to, I got out of the house. I've been in that house the last 2 days. So I just, wanted to have one reserved for me. Plus I wanted to see if that book was still there. Which it was. So I go in there and what happened? Oh, so they're open at 7 o'clock. I guess on weeknights. I guess, or I don't know. Maybe that's their regular time. I'm not sure. So I get there about 6:30. You know what I mean? And I asked him, and there was a lot of people in there. There was, for a comic shop on a Sunday or Friday evening, there was probably, when I walked in there was probably 8 or 10 people in there, which is a lot to me, all at one time in a small, local, independently owned comic shop. And so I'm like, I wonder what's going on. So, was there any particular reason why? So I asked him, hey, are you guys having any kind of sale tonight? He was like, nope. No. And then he said he said, if you grab some stuff, depending on what it is, we'll work something out. And I was like, So what else I saw that night that I didn't see the last time I was in there was they had a whole lot of like a box. Well, they had a box of underground books that were new to the store, and then they had like a short box of like regular underground comics. And the books had like, man, there was a lot of crumb in there, like mint condition. There was some Richard Corben stuff in there, multiple copies. There was some other stuff. These are all either books or they were magazine size stuff, and some was like some really big stuff. And I was like, wow. And then their short box of underground books, they had some really good stuff in there. A lot of it, most of it I had. Probably 70% of what was in that box I had already. They had a nice selection of Corben books in there that I have already. I'm talking about all the Fanagore stuff, the Grim Wit stuff. What else did they have? The Slow Death stuff. They probably had a good 10, 12 Corben comics in there, and then they had like a lot of Zap stuff, just a whole lot of different, selection of underground books. And that's really cool because I hardly ever see underground books in bulk when I go in stores. It's shocking just to see just one, but I saw another book, or I saw a book in there that I was interested in having. And then let me go back. So where the magazines were in the back of the store up on the wall, not only was there this one book, but I saw this other magazine that it was a Corben book. I never saw this magazine ever. Didn't even know it existed. Never saw it on any website. And I was like, whoa, and it was expensive too. And I was just like, man, what is going on here? So optimistically, I went up to the counter and I said, what kind of discount could you give me if I spent $150? Or if there was a book that cost $150, and then how much would it cost if I spent $275, if that was my total? So I told you already that the Grail book was $150. This other magazine I've never seen before was $75. I just looked that up, and they're actually selling for a lot cheaper than that. But I didn't know. I probably should have looked it up, but I didn't. And then the other book that I saw was $50, and that one I looked up, and it usually goes for a little bit cheaper. So I spent a little bit more than I wanted to. But what are you gonna do? Anyway, the owner tells me, he says, for the whole lot, he says, oh, let me go back and say, that night while I was looking around, I did end up picking up American Caper, issue number 1. This was I don't know if you want to call it a recommendation, but I saw Dan Nelson talking about this book. I like the art. It's a non-hero book. That's all I need. So I picked this up. So he says, okay, we're gonna, he says, what I'll do for you is I will give you this book for free. The Holy Grail book, we'll just call that book number 1. And then the other magazine, super expensive magazine, we'll call that book number 2. And then the last book, we'll call that book number 3. So he says book number 1, what did he tell me? Book number 3 was $50. He said, I'll give that one to you for $10. And that way my total would have came up to $235, which is roughly $50 less than what the total would be, somewhere in there. So now, if I would have looked these books up, because these books are all in great condition, and I was like, man, I wish you had a beat up one, because I don't care about the condition. I just want the book. But these books were in really good condition. Forgive me for being so long-winded. I just want to give you guys all of the details. Anyway, so I was like, all right, cool. My wallet is looking pretty good these days, and all right, let's do it. So I made a crazy purchase. I spent, with the tax, $256, man. $256 on 3 books. I'm not lying. Look at this. Can you see that? Anyway. Yeah, went a little crazy. Anyway, so let's look at the books and see. Now, here's the thing, like, if you've been watching my Corben videos, I've said a few times that a lot of the books, like if you look up some of his books on some of these websites, his books, a lot of them go anywhere from $75 up to $300, $400, $500. I would love to have those books, but I'm totally not going for that stuff. I'm not interested in seeking that stuff out. If I find it here or there and they're cheap, I'll definitely pick them up. But I am by no means, searching for that stuff when I'm out in the wild. In fact, here's a couple of books that I found. I think I didn't pay no more than $3, $4 for these books. Both of these books I'm going to show you. This one is just The Odd Comic World of Richard Corben. He had Dreadnought. They had 2 of these, by the way, in there. In really nice condition. 2 of these. I found this at Greg's Comics. If you go look at my underground books or some of my Richard Corben books, I talk about this. I also found this big boy, Neverwhere. This big boy in there. Both of these books, I didn't spend any more than, definitely less than $5. I want to say $3 to $4 a piece for these. Now, if you look these up, they go for a lot more. I think one of these go for hundreds if it's in really good condition. I didn't pay anything for them. Glad to have them, though. But if I didn't find them cheap, these would not be in my collection, just based off of what they normally sell for. So we're going to work backwards. This book I want to show you, I'm sure some of you guys have seen it. It definitely falls in that category of books that I wouldn't normally go at, but it's a good addition to the collection. This is Richard Corben. This is Underground number 3, The Complete Works of Richard Corben, the Ralph edition. So this had a $50 price tag on it. Now, I know Ralph has been, reissued, probably 4 times now that I can think of. The latest being the hardback. So, yeah, this thing is in really nice condition. So, this is the first time I've ever seen this in a while. Some black and white and some color in here. You guys know what this book looks like. I don't need to show you too much in here. I have not yet read this, and I have at least a couple different versions. Well, I have the comic book ones and all that. At least one of them. So, yeah, this one, I could have found this for cheaper. Probably $10, $15, maybe $20 cheaper. I don't know what it came out to with the discount, how much cheaper. Maybe that would have put it around you know, what I would have paid anyway. Okay, so here's the next one I want to show you. This is book number 2. That was the book number 3. This book number 2, I've never seen this before. Let me just take this out of the bag right away. And anybody that has any input on this book, please share it with me, because I don't have any knowledge at all about this book. This is called Dark Age, a collection of fantasy art. And I didn't look at this book twice, but then when I saw Richard Corben's name, I go, whoa, what's going on here? That almost looks like Richard Corben on the back. So let's take a look at this together, because this will be my first time, and maybe some of you guys, your first time ever seeing this book. So I'm assuming it's just a bunch of pictures of art in here. The owner over there at Dreadnought, he was like, "Oh, all these are, you know, big names." I recognize Jeff Jones. I don't recognize any other name on this cover, but I think I saw somewhere it said that Von Bodie is in here. Let me see if there's a... Yeah, the back cover is Richard Corben. Yes, so there's Corben right there. You know why what's crazy is the Underground book, the Ralph book, obviously I know what to expect. But this one and the other one are not necessarily books that Corben released. He's just featured in them. And I don't know. For all I know, I could have paid whatever I paid with the discount just for this picture and this picture alone. I don't know what else is in this book. Let's take a look. So I know Von Bodie's here. Corben, of course. Jeff Jones, I don't know much about him. I just kind of recognize the name. And I don't recognize any other name. Stephen Fabian, Wallace Wood, James Odbert, Felipe, Juliet, Roy Krenkill, Jeff Easley, Bernie Watson, Nestor Redondo, John Severin, Howard Scheiken, Marcus Boas, Jim Fitzpatrick, George Barr, Clyde Caldwell, Alex Nino, Michael Kaluta, and Reed Crandall. Does any of that sound familiar to you? It says that Corben is on, where did he go? 22 and 46. So let's go to 22. Yeah, it's just like art. It's just like, yeah, that's what I thought. Let's go to page 22. Oh, that don't look like Corben. Oh, it's just Corben up in the corner. So they got this little picture of Corben up in the corner, and then that's somebody else. So we got that. And is 46 the back cover? Yes, it is. 40. Wait, no, it isn't. And then we got this round picture of Corben. Looks like a self-portrait. And then we got that. I feel pretty stupid right now, spending 70 or whatever it came out to, 60, whatever, 50, whatever you want to call it, for this book. And I only got 3 little Corben pictures in it. Feeling kind of foolish, y'all. Feeling like I played myself a little bit. It's a good thing my wallet is not going to hurt that much. Okay. Now we're going to look at my Grail, and I hope that my Grail, this Corben Grail for me, has more to offer than the Dark Age book. Let's see. Ooh, I like that. Okay. So, yes. I'm so excited to show you guys this. This is issue number 1 of Hot Stuff. Yes, I've been wanting this for so long. It does not pop up online often, and when it does, it's very expensive. And I got it. Oh man, I didn't think I would have this. I was, I could only hope that I could find it out in the field. Somebody don't know what it is exactly and get it for really cheap. This is one of the ones that's really, 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 really hard to find. Really rare. Corben's on the back, but I can't show you that one. I'm sure you know why. And I just want to know, do I get more than a few pictures? Do I get okay? So yeah, we got the first story. There's a Corben story. Let's see if we get more than one. Probably not. That'll probably be it. Which, oh, we got 2 Corben stories. Very happy. Here's one story. Flies. Does anybody have this book? Does anybody out there own this book? Man, I'm so happy to have this book in my collection. Wow, this is it's been, I don't want to say a long time coming, but it's been a long time coming. I've been wanting this book for years, probably for the last 4 years, and I have all of the other Hot Stuff books. What's crazy is I think issue 1 and issue 2 are in magazine form, or maybe it's just issue 1, and then the rest of them went down, not quite as small as regular comic size, but like the underground comic size, it went to that size. I would have to look, but I'm pretty sure 1 and 2 were magazine size, and then the rest of them were comic book size. And I have some extras of the other ones, not 2, but like 3 or 4, something like that. He was in probably 4 or 5 issues, somewhere in there, of this title. But yeah, Hot Stuff number 1, Richard Corben. I paid a whole lot more than I wanted to on this, but what are you gonna do? So yeah, that's my latest Corben stash. I have a couple of the next couple of videos I show you. I got some really cool Corben magazines to show you. A seriously mixed bag of tricks. So you're going to enjoy them. So stay tuned. All right. Thank you guys for hanging out with me this evening and showing off my Corben Grail. One of them. And I don't think there's many left out there that I would call Grails. There's one in particular that's super expensive, but it only features Corben on the cover. I'm not going to say what it is. I'll keep that under wraps, but who knows? Maybe one day I'll pick that up. If I do, I guarantee you I won't be nearly as excited as having this and being able to add this in my collection. So, yeah, thanks for hanging out. This is Daryl D. I'll see you guys on the next Corben video. Peace and love.